So, welcome to
Tales from the Shed,
where we discuss
Wisdom.
wisdom
Yeah.
at menopause and beyond, and before, if you want to take it there, or you know anyone that's that young.
I know we don't, but we do know some people that are that young.
So, yes, we talk about different things, and we've spoken about a few things recently. But one of the things that it's sort of at the core of a lot of what drives me, which is this sort of insidious ideas. It's amazing how we get deep ideas that we don't really question. They've come from many different sources. And the question is that you kind of need to have a difficult time at menopause. And if you're lucky or you meet someone that will help you, or for goodness sake, whatever it is, I've gotten away with it. And people do say, I seem to have got away with it. It wasn't too bad.
Yes.
And I would like to just say, where did that fear come from? Where did this awfulness comes from? And I know some of it is getting older, which a lot of people are now questioning on, you know, why we have to follow these influences that says we have to be young. So we're quite fearful of not being young because our life stops, and that's a very social psychology
particularly for women, getting
particularly
older.
For women.
I mean, men do have, get older, but actually we're not talking about that at this point.
I don't care very much, but it's whatever their problems is, their problems are. But I'm not going to take on that one. But there is this, and with that alongside comes the menopause. And I did remember asking a few people some years ago, what does it mean to them? And we're getting words like a crow, the old crone in the corner, the miserable one, the one that always puts a damper on everything, the one that doesn't want to be anywhere, the sort of person that everybody doesn't want to be near. And I don't want to be.
Bit embarrassing, yeah. Crazy cat lady.
I don't know. That's at best.
Oh,
the other one
personality transplant
is the absolute awful old bag.
Smelly, old people smell. Yeah.
And also just the one that's miserable. Oh, we're going to go out and have a nice glass of wine. And that's bad. Nobody wants. That sort of the miserable one in the corner, the one that nobody wants. Invisible at best. Not somebody I would ever want to be, and not anybody inspirational.
Yeah, it's not really aspirational, is it?
No. So this has kind of got into our psychology, into our language. So no wonder they've been sold the fear of it.
Yeah, and I'm kind of thinking, when did that happen? I mean, I know my mother definitely had it. Because, of course, menopause was not talked about. It was not discussed. Women just got on with it. Get on with it. Stop messing around. Don't be, weak if you have, whatever they say. But these kind of things, just get on with it. And then there was this kind of suggestion. I did kind of, as you know me, not even a closet academic. I'm right out there. I'm out of the closet in terms of academics. But found some research which suggested that in some societies where menopause is not regarded negatively, that women have less problematical symptoms, however you kind of classify that. And then somebody's having this whole thing about, oh, well, in Japan, of course, they don't go through the menopause. They don't do that. They don't have that because they have whatever fish oil diet, and you're going, well, that's bollocks, actually. But it's
so what's in Japan?
Technical term, bollocks. But anyway, but it was like, so there's all this kind of stuff around there milling about in the ethos. And at some point, it became something not to be talked about, problematical, was going to be difficult. If you had issues, you need to deal with it yourself.
And then we got a magic button solution.
We did.
Medicalize it. So we have, and now
have a pill for it.
So it's kind of, somebody built the fear.
Yeah.
And then somebody said, buy this product, no fear.
But of course, we know the guy that invented HRT.
The guy,
we always make this point, did it because he wanted to stop women becoming dull and unattractive. So just leaving that with you, that it was not to do with women's health.
No. And HRT, people say it's still that keep your health, keep your vitality,
keep your skin lovely,
keep your job going, keep everything going. And I
care for everybody else still.
So inbuilt in all of this sales, and I think it's always looking at that, questioning how deep it is. But in it, it's like there's no question that it can be a healthy transition from one healthy state to another, not a healthy state to a not bad, not too broken,
kind of
you didn't suffer too much,
getting on with it.
It's one healthy state to another. And I think it's taking all of those kind of other fear things come in it. But I think fear doesn't come from, it's not innate in us for this, we just go through it. Fear is socially produced.
Yeah,
it's done. And so it's like looking at the reality versus the fear. But normally the people that create the fear sell the product, and this is advertising ever since ever. It's kind of like Mr. Kellogg's, the best meal of the day. If you don't have wheat for breakfast, you're going to have a terrible day. So they sell the fear, then they sell the solution.
Yes.
And I think we've got to be very, very careful that we look at the actuality and find our own path. I'm not going to say solution because I'm still selling a problem.
Exactly, I know. So the thing is, and I suppose is part of our reason for starting this whole business, if you like. I'm using that in the kind of non-commercial way. But why are we talking about this? Because we were so fed up, annoyed, dispirited by the amount of women that seem to feel that once you get past a certain age, and that phrase, a woman of a certain age. It was. Do you have a man of a certain age? No. You have a woman of a certain age.
But without even going into the man-women thing, because to be fair, whatever their issues are, it's not my. They're over there.
It's not her agenda.
But it's not my agenda.
Yeah.
But although I talk about menopause, but right throughout the hormonal life, women suffer with their hormones. They suffer with infertility.
They do suffer. They suffer.
But they have these, and they go through this, and it's almost like, until there's a solution, we don't offer it.
So I think that's our thing. You don't have to suffer.
You
don't have to suffer. That isn't really the plan. That was not the design.
No.
The design was not that women suffered from puberty all the way through to menopause.
No.
And all the rest of it. It's like your hormones act like this, and at certain times of your life, they produce the conditions where you're going to be fertile, be not fertile, whatever.
It's a fertile, non-fertile, not a young old. That's probably what I'd like to say. And I think it's just be careful. I mean, we have spoken about the statistics that are sold with menopause.
Bad time.
Very, very bad time. But it's so many times that now it's kind of this problem that comes up, and watch the adverts, see where they go, and you think, I didn't know that was a problem. And you kind of add it, and it becomes part of life. And it's insidious in every respect. And I know it's a balance between respect for women and what they're doing.
Yeah.
But it is like at work, we're trying to create a safe space for women so they can live half a life, and we don't sack them.
Why should not everywhere be a safe space for women? I don't understand that.
But we definitely, and the World Health Organization is trying to classify it as a disease. If you have certain, we're now going to have the appropriate sort of credits for people that are suffering a disease. We're now having all sorts of things where it isn't. It's a real problem. It's not a disease.
It's a process.
It's a process.
We're going to be doing this for a long time.
Well,
for a while.
For an awful long time.
Let me do
as long as we have mothers.
So I think just kind of have that thought. And I think we're talking about menopause because that's kind of an area and a time of life that we're concerned about. But there are other, and it's almost like, to me, it kind of feels like when you talk about women suffering with their hormones, it's exactly that, so when you have your periods, then of course you have your time in the month, and then you're going to be grumpy and all that kind of stuff. And then you kind of do that for a while, and then of course you get pregnant, and there's all sorts of other things where you're going to be grumpy, and then you get to menopause, and then you're going to be double grumpy, and it's just like, so when is the perfect moment? We don't ever have a, well, actually we do. It's kind of beyond menopause.
That's one, and before. We don't have to suffer at any point with our hormones. We have to sort of address them and realize the difference.
Just rebalance.
So rebalance. If you have any problems, look at them. And if you're not at menopause yet, just make sure you've got a great hormonal life ready for that.
Yeah, and plan for it and all the rest of it. But
don't be sold a problem.
Don't be sucked into the fear, I guess, is what we're saying, really.
Yeah.
Because look, you can survive menopause.